Welcome to KG5 for the NPL Tasmania. It's Hobart Zebras and Glenorchy Knights, two custodians of this venue, ready to go head-to-head. And this should be an interesting battle between 4th and 5th. The Zebras looking to make a little bit of a gap to the Knights in 5th. If Knights win, they could jump them. So an interesting day here this Sunday in the formation of the league and the standings. And here to call the action with me is Paul Hunt. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, Andrew Cullen. Pleasure to be here, as always, on a sun-soaked King George V Park here this afternoon. It is a beautiful day for football, and these two teams, it's always great when these two can match up at the highest level in Tasmania. Two of the storied clubs, particularly of the post-war era, along with Olympia Warriors, both have 60 years history from their respective migrant communities, and it's always a tough, honest contest between these two. Knights having been in the Southern Championship the last few years, we haven't seen this contest in the league for quite some time, and I think both teams and both sets of fans will be up for it indeed. But despite being next to each other on the table, I would imagine the Zebras would go into this contest as fairly heavy favourites. Knights had a good win over Kingborough Lions 4-1 here the other week, but if the Hobart Zebras can get their shooting boots on, I would wager they're a strong favourite, Andrew.
Sorry, just getting the blog set up. Doubling up here today at KG5. But yeah, it's going to be a cracking contest. I agree that Zebras will go in fairly comfortable favourites into this one. They've shown a little bit of inconsistency with their finishing in front of goal. They've still been a little bit profligate, I think, for what they're going to need to be if they're going to make a serious title bid, and they'll need to sharpen up in front of goals today. But Knights have struggled against the teams above them on the table so far, and with a couple more injuries, no Magic Man today, which is obviously a great disappointment for all of us. Bellini coming down with a calf injury, the latest one to join that ever-growing injury list at Knights, and that does leave them up against it against an opponent like the Zebras, who have shown they've got plenty of goals in them. Yeah,
absolutely, and Zebras are getting back to full strength. They've had their squad stretched it a couple of times as well so far this season, but they've got a few niggling injuries, and Luke Huxley's obviously still unavailable, but the majority of their squad is available here this afternoon. We'll get a look at those teams relatively soon, so we can go through them for you. And there we are with the Hobart Zebras. That is a pretty strong lineup. Having first look at it, you've got the big Czech striker Jan Harutza, centre back there, looking after Matthew Nowicki probably here today. Riley Dillon, the Stone Cold. Nicky Edwards, Jaden Hay, looks like he's going to set up in centre midfield. Tommy Little at the back as well. Geordie Muller, a big inclusion for the Zebras. Good to have their metronome midfielder back. Matty Pace, Matthew Sanders, those the two main finishing outlets, despite how, as you mentioned, how profligate they've been of late. They have got a few goals against Riverside just the other week. Dwayne Walsh, Sam Watman, and well, Ryo Yonezawa as well. On the bench, Ackley, Fag, Jones, Sunday McEwen, and Nathan Reid. A pretty strong lineup there, Andrew.
Yeah, very strong Zebras lineup. And a consistent 11 is something perhaps we've not seen from Zebras too much in the past, but same starting 11 from last weekend. Rotated a little bit in the Cup midweek against Clarence, but I think that continuity can be a very underrated part of, I guess, building into a season, and results you'd imagine will get better the longer players play together. Dave Smith down there certainly will be keen for 3 points in this one. Knows his team have to win it. Declared it a must-win game on Friday at the press conference. He knows how important it is to not cede any more ground to the likes of Devonport, Olympia and South, those other teams pushing up the table. And as I said, if the Zebras do win today, there will be a bit of a gap between the top four and the rest, so we'll see how pronounced that gets. We might move along to the Glenorchy Knights side now, taking on the Hobart Zebras, and you'll see a few returning to that squad. George Hallard back from suspension on the bench, as they got a fair bit of depth about them this year, the Knights, but still missing a couple of their top-end players. Declan Brown having an incredible year. Rowan Heggie Interesting to see him in the starting lineup. Hauled off after 30 minutes last time we saw the Knights, but has earned another crack at it would seem. Declan Brown just been brilliant. Jade Clay, we'll see where he lines up. He was subbed on as a winger last week, which he was saying on Friday surprised even himself. He may well get worked into an advanced attacking role again this week with Bellini out. Callan Griffin, first 30 minutes was absolutely fantastic against South Hobart a couple of weeks ago. Really liked what I saw from him. Probably still building up to match fitness, but has shown a bit. Lockie Hardwick and Tyler Harrison will probably partner each other in the middle of the defence. Looking at the rest of that lineup, you'll have Heggie. We've seen the left wing role. Not sure where he'll bob up today. Samuel James has been in great form in the midfield, really having a quality season. And then Nicholas Naden has been very sharp in attack too, really playing with confidence at the moment. Naden running at defenders, taking them on. Dimmy Nesta will stand between the sticks. And big Matthew Nowicki, well, he was the star man against Kingborough. It was the Nowicki hat-trick, the goal, the assist, the reckless yellow card. We'll see if he can chalk up another one of them today. And then Matthias Toghill. And that's perhaps the big part of this game today, which I am dubbing the Sean Toghill Cup, this match. I haven't seen him around the traps too much this year. Tasmania's #1 football supporter, the most passionate supporter there is, has been firmly supporting the Zebras the past couple of years in the absence of his son Matthias. Matthias now lining up for Knights, but I've not heard Togsy yelling "come Knights" just yet, so perhaps his support is up for grabs. The Zebras versus his son, which is the bigger pool. I think whoever wins today might get his support.
It could be
Sean Toghill Cup.
It could be the deciding factor here. I'm all about the Sean Toghill Cup. As you were saying, I was trying to see if I could see him. He used to like to occupy the far side of the ground. Exactly. Even in conversation form, pre-match, you'd be able to hear him. And look, come Knights, the music version are missing a band member, as one of them did leave for South Hobart, so there is a slot available in both Come Knights, the band, and just supporting them in general, and I reckon Togsy could just slide in there as well.
Could be the key. So, which is the bigger pool? Is it Matthias or is it the Zebras, who he's grown to love the past couple of years? I tend to lean towards the latter, but we'll wait and see whether
he needs one of those.
Whether love is unconditional or not.
Will he turn up in a half shirt like I think it was Cow Bacchus's mum did Melbourne City versus Western Sydney Wanderers last week in the A-League, had a half Wanderers, half City shirt. Could we see the first ever half Zebras, half Knights shirt? So, it'd be unheard of in Tasmanian football.
But yeah, definitely a big element of today's game. A slightly bigger element. The man in the middle there, Stratos, our centre ref for this one. And this is a massive 3 points for both these sides today, I feel. I do fancy the Zebras to take it. I think they'll get the job done. But a Knights side with some real firepower, who are capable of a few goals. And given the way the Zebras have been finishing in recent weeks, they don't want to leave the door ajar for them, Paul.
They certainly don't. Dave Smith even flagged that in his pre-match press conference, where I thought it was an interesting tactic to pretty much spell out what his tactics will be for this game. He pretty much said that the Knights' strongest area of the park is their front four. And to be fair, he's not wrong there, Dave Smith. It's good identifying it, and it'll be interesting to see what he does tactically to do that. But up front with the Colonel Sanders, you give him enough chances, he will eventually score, despite what happened here a couple of weeks ago, where he had a curse on, clearly put a hex on the goal on the left-hand side. And it seems like they'll be lining up as is, no changeover, just the long huddle, which I'm not sure what the point of this is. We'll hear it come Knights. There we go.
Well, it's dangerously close to 2:30. We're 2 days in a row kicking off just about on time here at KG5. This is unheard of, Paul.
I mean, we did have the asterisk of women's games usually start a bit closer, but 2:34, we're gradually improving here in the NPL. No longer blowing out.
So, Matty Sanders, a former Knight, of course, played some good football for the Glenorchy Knights, now doing his best work with the Zebras, but just been a star goal scorer in Tasmanian football for the longest time, and he'll be hungry to get on the score sheet today. We're just about ready to go now. It's the Zebras and the Knights. It's an old rivalry renewed here at KG5 on Sunday into the final game of round 9 action. We're underway here. Big Jan Harutsa having a fantastic year in the middle of this Zebras defence. Little's misplaced pass picked off by Cal Griffin. Just a little clip there from pace. Allow play to continue. Matthias Toghill on the right, and he's coughed it up here to Pace. He looks to run at them. Centres the ball for Edwards. Edwards across to Muller. Geordie Muller with a little bit of room here. Out now for Jaden Hay. Hay's cross-charge down and falls the way of Callum Brown. Or Declan Brown, rather. Wrong twin there is Dwayne Walsh into Ryu Yonezawa. Quality player, and that's a dangerous-looking ball over the top for Hay. Puts it towards the back post. Pace was there, and he just clattered into Toghill, and the free kick blown in favour of the Knights. Good start, Zebras, Paul.
Very good start for Zebras. Cal Griffin getting pulled up for taking that free kick about 10 yards in advance of where the foul actually was. Sensible refereeing from Stratos Plomaridis there, and then, well, we were mentioning the Sean Toghill Cup. We've also got a Fear the Beard Cup going on here. Dwayne Walsh versus Matthias Toghill, both rocking some very fearsome-looking beards here this afternoon. I don't think they'll come in direct opposition much here this afternoon. And another tasty side note is Stone Cold Riley Dillon lays it back to Harutsa. We have seen the Zebras be pretty composed playing it around the back so far this season. Dillon made a bursting run, but his hours pass not quite on the money. The Knights, who are trying to figure out where they'd have everyone playing. It does appear Jade Clay has settled to a more traditional left-back role where you'd expect to see him. And the Wiki up top, and then you've got Naden. The Wiki's going to try and charge this one down. Watman did have that covered the whole way, and letting that one bounce. Risky business from Harrison. Manages to find Naden. Long ball down the line from Naden. Little will keep that one in and stride forward. Wins the throw-in off Cal Griffin, who just magically reappeared the other week, not being cited in the first few games, inserted himself into centre midfield and did not look out of place in the slightest in that game against the Lions. It was Stone Cold Riley Dillon, knocks that one along in the Hay direction. He uses his body well against Harrison. Does Jaden Hay, and then a heavy touch. Geordie Muller aimed to clean up. Good body work there from Declan Brown. Naden. And two for company, and manages to win the throw-in.
Toghill with the throw-in. Goes in the Naden direction. Floats over him. Nowicki just backing into Little there. I think he'll fancy himself more against Little in those physical duels and the bulking frame of big Horutza. He's Geordie Muller. Such a key man for this Zebras team. So much of their play running through him, and Yonezawa, real keys to this Zebras midfield. Here's Little. Cross to Harutsa. Now Yonezawa, just a rather hurried pass and went straight to Jade Clay. Clay drops it in for Griffin. Griffin into a number of Zebras and coughed it up. Sanders now to Muller. Bombing on is Riley Dillon. That'll be a familiar sight. Into Pace. Pace couldn't quite find Walsh as he just put that one in behind him. And the big Dwayne Pipe hustling hard to track it down, but couldn't keep it in play in the end. Very loud set of wheels he's rocking there at the Dwayne Pipe. Very sharp. So throw in, heave down the line from Clay. Good one too, into the path of Brown, who just lofts it over the top for Naden to chest down. Riley Dillon close to him. Naden swings the cross in, deflected off of Dillon, and Little sweeps it clear. Naden again, powerful runner. Here's the Knights attacker, and in pretty good goal scoring form this year. Declan Brown. Back for James. And James retreats to Clay. Gets around Jaden Hay, then works it down the line, but won't get past Dwayne Walsh. Clay to James. Now Nowicki. Just lost his footing there, and he draws the free kick from Harutsa. And a promising position this.
Very much so. Nowicki, the first time he's really squared up against Harutsa. I think the referees adjudged that Harutsa's left arm was over the shoulder of Nowicki there, holding him back. And we will see James and DJ Heggie over this one. Both teams Samuel James and Yonezawa, players we've seen in fullback a lot, but playing in central midfield, as Heggie will take this one, goes near post, cleared by Dillon. Muller. Eventually, Hay will see that one out. And just keeping that in the area of play there is the match manager on the far side. Oh, very well to keep that one in. As we'll see, Toghill has not got a lot of movement in front of him in his defence. So he goes down the line towards Naden. Tommy Little coming across. Naden. Geordie Muller for company. Edwards. No, it was a good nutmeg there by Colonel Sanders, but all for naught. Taken quickly by the Knights. Low driving ball. Little clears as far as Edwards. Dillon. Sanders flicks on. Pace. He wanted the return ball. Geordie Muller going in with the high foot. And Dimmy Nesta, who has solidified his #1 status here at Knights under considerable pressure, with Lockie Hart still on the bench. One of the better backup keepers we've got in the league, especially after his game the other week.
Yeah, we've got some serious depth in goals this year, Glenorchy Knights. We've seen 3 different keepers rolled out for them in the NPL. As Naden gets there and gets the free kick against Little. Just getting away from him here at the back. Tommy Little, really heavy touch.
A small lapse in concentration there from Little. Naden quick off his mark.
So Rowan Heggie just looking like he fancies this, although he just really wanted to put the ball down for Samuel James.
Well, his first effort wasn't the greatest free kick, so it wouldn't surprise me if James says, "You've had one go, give me a shot," but maybe the in-swinger is more preferred.
He looks keen. He dummies though, and maybe he should have gone, because James's effort is skied horribly over the top.
I mean, at least Heggie's remained in the field of play.
In the suburb. Not his best there. Samuel James, capable of far better, it's fair to say. Watman. Harutza. Big check centre back. Flicked off of Edwards, couldn't keep it in play. Jade Clay. Flicked down by Griffin. Tommy Little just hacking it forwards. And they're offering that shield for his back four. Was James in midfield. Toghill dwells on it. Nick Naden dropping deep. Back inside the bullseye for James. And Hardwick again partnering Harrison at the back, with Young still out injured and George Hallard returning from his suspension, but he's on the bench today. A real rotating cast in at centre back for Knights so far this season. Dimmy Nesta looked like he'd become the second choice keeper behind Hart, but a couple of very good performances thrust him right back in favourite. Hard to drop him after that type of effort we saw against South Hobart. He was given the opportunity due to Hart's absence and has not relinquished the #1 status with some quality keeping performances. Hay works it to Muller. Now Tommy Little. Spreads it out wide for Riley Dillon. And Stone Cold says, "I'm going to take on Toghill," and works it in towards Sanders. Good head, though, from Hardwick. Just got a little piece of it to take it away from the Colonel. Nicky Edwards with a sharp turn. Can't get goal side of Jade Clay, though, and went down rather easily there behind 4 goal kicks. So no real clear-cut chances for anyone in the first 10 minutes here, Paul.
No, not for either side. Knights have had a couple of set-piece options that they, in hindsight, wish they did a bit better with, and Zebras have probably been slightly better from open field play. Clay kicks that one out of play, I believe. Yes, called by Brenton Copperer on the near side. Walsh stride forward to take the throw in. Another one rocking the Jesus, the headband kind of look. South American, as that one goes to Hay. Walsh is surrounded by DJ Heggie. Surely an armbar on Heggie there by Walsh. Clay immediately gets his head up, but Nwiki was striding the other way, so he'll go short to Brown. James. Cleared up and under by Walsh. Hay and James underneath it. 2 hands in the back there, I think, by James. The referee has seen the same thing, so we'll give another free kick. Zebras again will look to play it out through the back. Very settled back four ever since Yonezawa moved into the centre of midfield, and has been Dylan, Little, Peruzza and Walsh for the most part. Pace. Changing passes with Dylan. Now the Colonel Sanders down the line for Stone Cold. Inside to Pace. Pace, James comes across. And the clearance falls fortuitously to Heggie. Brown is bombing on if he wanted to hit it first time. Yonezawa just doing enough. Walsh. Eventually 3 Zebras players get back, but still going. Here's DJ Heggie, goes towards the back post. Naden tries to knock it back down for Nowicki. Oh, he's hit the keeper square in the middle of the chest, but it's a penalty. Well, he got the head to it, but the challenge coming in from the side, and Plomaridis has pointed to the spot.
We'll have a look on the replay here. Just good perseverance from Heggie. Kept going, swings it in. Naden back across, so he gets the header off, and then the extended leg of Peruzza comes in, and he's pointed to the spot. And yeah, I'll admit, right exactly where that happened is where our wonderful camera team is set up, so I was glancing between live play and the screen and missed the brutalness of the initial impact. Nowicki still down on the ground, and on reflection, it's card?
No surprise to see why, as Plomaridis is looking after the health of Nowicki imminently, but potentially something out of the pocket there might not be out of order.
Oh yeah, very surprised that he's held fire on the cards, but anyway, it's going to be a man who's been rolled gold from the penalty spot in Declan Brown. Can he step up and give Glenorchy Knights the lead in this one? Yeah, a slight delay as we just wait for Heggie to get outside of the penalty area. So Declan Brown steps up and he beats Watman. Knights take the lead 13 minutes into this one. Glenorchy Knights 1-0. And a goal to the good, perhaps the case. They could be a man to the good as well.
Yeah, potentially. The more we look at that replay up here, it does seem a slightly reckless challenge. Brown with good pace on it, didn't quite get it in the corner, but Watman couldn't quite get the outstretched arm, as there's some movement on the sideline with the stretcher coming out onto the pitch to look at Nowicki, who got back up, gave the thumbs up, but now the extended medical team is heading over. Zebras and Knights out there looking as well, so he looks in a bad way here, does Matt Nowicki. Yeah, not looking good at all. Here's the Knights striker. Well, we do enjoy the occasional joke at Nowicki's expense with his tough style. We do wish him all the best in a situation like this. There is now some genuine concern on the far sideline. Smart of the medical team to put him in the shade as well. And it's a surprisingly warm April day here at KG5. No, we'll await Nowicki to come off the pitch. Just confirming that goal from number 20, Declan Brown. Both sides are using this opportunity to have a drinks break. Now Peruzza coming over to check if he's okay. So his teammate Heggie. We'll see a little bit of added time here in the first half after that incident, and it's been a pretty even first 14 minutes here. It was the real first clear-cut chance of the game falling to Nowicki. Got good power on the header. Peruzza's foul afterwards has seen him leave the pitch, and coming on would be number 15 for the Knights.
Jake Stewart.
Jake Stewart, thank you very much.
Haven't seen him yet, so I'm assuming he's the one who's come on there.
I'd completely forgot who the subs for the Knights were then.
I just haven't saw Jake Stewart on the pitch, so I'm assuming that's it. It's Jaden Hayes. Zebras looking to hit back immediately here. How will they respond to going a goal down? Sammy Ortman beaten by a very good spot kick from Declan Brown. Gave him no chance on that one. Long he goes. Tog Hill heads that one down to Riley Dillon. He's going to run up the defence and then roll it through for Pace. Pace cuts it back. Turning in the box was Edwards. Back to Dillon. And he skies his effort over the crossbar. It's a lovely build-up play, but the finish not quite matching that.
Getting back on the front foot immediately. The Zebras. Good attacking intent down the left-hand side. Matty Pace has been involved in a lot of the Zebras action the last couple of weeks, and I think that'll be one of their main outlets here this afternoon, as we confirm it is Jake Stewart coming on. It can play as a central striker. You do often see him out at wing as well, but it is very much a like-for-like replacement as Nesta launches this one in the James direction over his head, and Yonezawa can't find a teammate. Knights throw in. Down the line, Harutza with the header. Heggie gets up, the two number 9s battling well. Still going at it, Heggie and Walsh. Plummeridis allowing to play on, but Heggie judged to have had too much of a nibble at Walsh's ankles. And they'll play it out. The impressive Tommy Little. Game he got sent off here early in the season. I still think he was one of the best on the ground that day. Thomas Little. Harutza. And Wayne Walsh there, not with his finest moment. And B, Clay to take. He's being a bit generous here. He's got another 5-10 yards to stride up if he wants to, and there he does. And exceeds Jake Stewart, who dropped in short, probably not used to someone as a throw as long as Jade Clay's. And he's certainly got a cannon of an arm, probably due to his pretty good cricket expertise as well. Wouldn't mind him throwing a ball from the boundary at me if I was a wicket keeper. Muller back to Little, who just sends that high in the sky. Eventually, luckily, wins the throw in.
So here's Pace. It's been lively early in this one. Just got him behind a couple of times with some nice sharp movement. Enjoying being a first team regular in the NPL Tasmania this year, Pace, after just tearing it up in the Magoos for an extended period. Riley Dillon has slid that one through and it lands right into the path of Pace. He's got Hay in the middle, he goes himself. And he couldn't find a way to beat Nesta. That one up over the top there. There's always a tough chance on the angle here, just trying to catch Jimmy Nesta out, but knew where his post was there, the veteran custodian of the Knights net.
Yeah, Pace, Challenge League top scorer last year, as well as just generally tearing it up, I think, from memory.
I think so, yes.
Hardwick whacks it down the line. Brown contesting with Harutza.
The other one, the Golden Boot or the MVP, it was one or the other.
Oh, it could be both even.
He certainly had a fantastic year playing in the Challenge League, and he was one that I think if he wasn't going to be getting first team football at Zebras this year, another club would have been looking to snap him up. Muller does well there, stooped in, won the header. Yonezawa wins the header and pays the price. Heggie smashing into him, and a slice of cheese coming the way of DJ Heggie here. They really made Yonezawa earn that one. And Jaden Hay just stepping in, telling him to calm down there. Interesting to see the skipper of the Zebras is the one controlling the Knights play here, not one of his own teammates.
I just thought the Knights teammates just sort of ran the other direction as he goes clattering into Yonezawa, who's back to his feet. Nicky Edwards was in particular not terribly happy with the treatment of his teammate. And it's also what got Heggie a little riled up, but
They always look worse when the arm ends up away from the body as it did then. It always ends up looking worse for the player as Walsh punches this one in the Sanders direction. He flicked on, but there's no one at the back stick. And Naden can let that one roll. So 20 minutes in, I think the Knights be well and truly the happier of the two sides at this point. They've got the lead and good foothold in this game here at the moment. Looking to claim a top 4 scout for the first time. Muller took it away from his marker but went into the path of Heggie. He was involved in plenty early on. Edwards charges down Hardwick, but not before he worked it to Stewart. Well done, Tommy Little, robbed him of the ball. And then looks to spring Jaden Hay down the right. Lovely play that from Tommy Little. What can Jaden Hay produce now? Drops the shoulder and drives to the byline. The cutback was poor. Straight to Jade Clay. Did ever so well right up until the final pass there, Hay. Walsh prevents a good counter-attack, but Heggie just copping a little bit of afters there, I think.
Yeah, unsurprisingly, it was Yonezawa just leaving a slight elbow and shoulder charge in on Heggie there. Just letting just a little bit of a square up for the incident a minute prior, and you could see it coming a mile off that Yonezawa was going to do that. As Captain Harrison knocks it out to Toghill. Zebras seem to be pressing a little more higher up here than they were earlier in the match. And Samuel James now trying to get around Yonezawa. 2 fouls in a matter of 30 seconds. Stratos wants to chat, unsurprisingly, with Riley Dillon, who usually has a word or two to say. Does the left back, formerly playing in the NPL Victoria, prior to coming down here midway through last season. Maridis really laying down the law.
Isn't he?
a lot of that good finger pointing you like to see.
Really just letting him know who's in charge there, Stratos. Here's Jade Clay. Tries to take on Jaden Hay himself. Hay wasn't having a bar of that. Walsh punches it into the throat there of Clay. Did pretty well to control it in the end. And Declan Brown walking the tightrope there. Then just played one that Stuart perhaps wasn't expecting. Dwayne Walsh, clever little dink to take him away from Heggie, who's charging back off the head of pace. And then Harutza beating Stewart, but the ball lands at the feet of Declan Brown. Can he combine with Stewart here? Well, he can't, because he gets brought down from behind there by a big one. Harutza taken quickly. They spread the play out to the far side. Matthias Toghill there. And Toghill goes looking for Jake Stewart, but that one had Sammy Ortman's name all over it.
Ironic cheers from the Zebras faithful behind the net as well. Was Jake Stewart's attempts to rise high. Watman clearly got the height advantage. He's quite a tall player in Sammy Watman. And pace. Looking to go to Muller. Cal Griffin for company. And again coming across. Here's Toghill. The Knights have settled into this match quite well. Sherman's really got them well organised at the back so far. They're not leaving too many gaps, and James seems to be playing a little deeper than he has in weeks gone by. Probably to counter the likes of Muller and Hay running through the middle, and Edwards as well, as the Knights win that one back. Jake Stewart on an island, and the whole Zebras defence to deal with. Now Tommy Little. Yonezawa, Harutza. Still applying good pressure are the Knights, forcing him all the way back to the keeper. Looking to spread the play. And in the end it goes down the Hay Diddle Diddle. Rising high is Toghill. Muller. Dillon. Now it's the Colonel Sanders. What is in the Sanders locker here at the moment? It's a lovely ball to Pace, who just left it behind him. Lovely slide rule ball there from the Colonel. Headed back dangerously. I think it's come off a Knights player. No, it hasn't. It's been called offside.
Yeah, Brenton Copper down there on the line. If it did come off a Zebra, it was a very clear offside decision there for Copper to give. So, long goes Nesta over the head of Jakey Stewart. And Dillon back to Watman. Up and under into the path of Griffin. Did nicely there, Cal Griffin. Worked it back to Naden. Naden to Brown. First time pass. Stewart won't quite get there. Just overcooked it a little there. It was the medium when the medium rare was required.
And it's needed a bit less pepper on it, that pass. The Knights, we saw them play plenty of that style of football when they were in the championship and making their like a Seljet Cup runs over the past few years. Haven't seen as much of it, stepping up to the higher level as Sanders somehow gets that through a wall of red. And Edwards looks up. He's got Dylan on the overlap. Nicky Edwards getting onto the right foot. Jenking deflected. Still in the box. It's Hay. Back to Dylan, who goes the curl but puts it well over the top in the end. Zebras finally spreading it from one side to the other. Coach David Smith has been pointing for that to happen for some time down in the technical area, and we can see what dividends can potentially produce. Will be Timmy Nesta to take the goal kick. And after playing it out short the last couple of goal kicks, they're electing to lob this one, and maybe short would have been a better option. It's fallen right to Yonezawa. Sanders with a delightful through ball to Pace. Nesta coming off his line and getting there first. Pace was... Edwards, sorry, was adjudged offside in any case.
TAS Toghill. Jake Stewart as the Knights take over and attack. Naden, did he manage to keep that one in? He did, but the Zebras will win the ball back, the two number 10s. Hay and Griffin. Jaden Hay's been fairly prominent early in this one. Getting on the ball a fair bit for the Zebras in attack. He is Tommy Little. It's, well, nominally the visitors. Can't really call them that at this venue. The away team in Glenorchy Knights, who will lead this one at the moment by a goal to nil, although Clay's got into some trouble there, and Muller's quick pass was a sharp one to Pace. Hardwick charging down his attempted cross to Spring Edwards, though. Walsh, little nutmeg there, and then charges after it, but Brown read it well. Harutza intelligently wins it back. Yonezawa. Now Riley Dillon. Forward to Jaden Hay. Again looking to really run at the defence is Hay. He runs into a little bit of trouble. Kept a hold of the ball. Muller. Walsh. Muller. So his midfield partner there, Yonezawa. And the patient approach from Zebras, something we've seen plenty of in season 2019. Quite content to knock the ball around. And now Tommy Little trying to force the issue a little and just couldn't hook up with Riley Dillon. And the Zebras finding it difficult to crack this nut at the moment. The Knights' defence are looking pretty well organised today. Yeah,
they certainly are, and they've really done their homework, Sherman, and seen that the Zebras like to play or isolate the fullbacks or get it in between the channel between fullback and centre-back, and James and Cal Griffin in particular are really dropping deep to clog up some of that space, especially when they're in a deep defence. They're almost playing with a double pivot and 2 sixes in the centre midfield, and it's really causing the Zebras a few issues here to start with. Hay, who's now moved more centrally, tried to get on that. Griffin had a lot more time than he thought. He set Naden a task, and Dillon will get there first. Watman passing across the face of his box. Heggie pressuring Harutza, who's done well as DJ Heggie. Harutza comes across and probably wins a goal kick for his team. Corner adjudged. I was trying to see where the quick double deflection went, but the Knights, they're pressing up in sort of 2s and 3s there on the centre-backs, and it is working quite well. It's the second time we've seen the Zebras come undone.
Perhaps slightly unlucky there, big Harutza. Thought did manage to take the last touch off of Heggie. It was a good recovery from the Czech centre-half after he got himself into a bit of trouble there. Under pressure from Heggie. Half an hour into this one, a game of few clear-cut chances, especially from open play. Very few and far between. Samuel James. Look at them crowding Sammy Watman here on the line. Swings it in, and they don't really give anyone a chance. It was poor delivery from James, but The vision from the box there was fascinating. He had about 5 Knights players just standing on the keeper and breaking eventually, but clear plan there to try and impede the big Kiwi.
Well, he's certainly got the size and strength you want in a keeper, Sammy Watman, and it probably would take 4 or 5 Knights crowding around him to make an impact. I think James would really want that delivery back. His set pieces haven't been the best here so far this afternoon as Edwards goes for a surging run. Dillon. Pace one side and Edwards the other. Now Muller, who could turn out and find Walsh, but goes to Hay. Dillon's now can size up the cross. Goes centrally towards Sanders and hits the tracker, and Harrison eventually clears. Thumped into the sky to Yonezawa. The Colonel had 2 half bites at it, but didn't quite get it. Muller. Back to Harutsa. Chip through ball. I think he was looking for Sanders to make an onward run, but he was coming back from an offside position. Timmy Nestor comfortably collects, and now it's Hardwick who wants some options. And his execution appeared to be the Zebras' technical area rather than that of Jake Stewart.
So Tommy Little, Muller. Seen the Knights a few times this year, just a little bit vulnerable at the back end of halves. Can the Zebras exploit that here today? It's Pace to Walsh. To Muller with the outside of the boot. As Little decides to take them on and saunter right through the middle of KG5. Dropped it off for Muller. That's an exceptional ball for Walsh. Wayne Walsh charging down the right. Tidy little ball. Tommy Little's continued his run. He's shot charged down. He might get a second bite. Had suspicions of handball. That one blocked away. Falls to Riley Dillon, who's offside, as he produced a rather stunning shot, but unfortunately the flag had gone up on him.
Let's file that one as one of the best goals not allowed this season. It was a sharp angle for Riley Dillon. Must have been trotting back from that one. Good power on it from Dillon. And all to no avail. It was Harrison. Chips that one down the sideline. Stewart contesting. Yonezawa up to the Colonel. Now Edwards. Pace had run inside. He would have preferred him out in some space. DJ Heggie. Brown's making a surging run. So's Clay. Goes to Brown first, who then finds Clay. Clipped afterwards. Jade Clay towards the penalty spot. Yonezawa coming back, and Harutsa thumps that one clear. Looking very threatening on the counter. The Glenorchy Knights here this afternoon is Hay. Looks it to Sanders. It'll be interesting to see whether the next out of play Harutsa gets a talking to or a cheddar. There was a late clip on Brown there just before as Dillon on the far side. Well, there's a chip through ball. No one really there, and Harrison goes the up and under. Little contesting with Stewart. Naden running onto it. It's Nick Naden. 4v4 here for the Knights. Let's see how they can use it. Goes to Stewart. Jake Stewart low ball towards Yonezawa, who clears it. Keeps it in play. There's Jakey Stewart. Has another chance. Goes towards the back post. Walsh gets a little feather on it to take it away from DJ Heggie, but does concede the corner. Does the Dwayne pipe. The Knights really trying to turn the screw here and double their lead. And looks like Harutsa has gotten away with that clip earlier. Will it be Samuel James to take? He's standing nowhere near the corner flag, so it's going to be Declan Brown by the looks of it. They're crowding the keeper again this time here, but now it's starting to run away as it's another low ball. Dillon clears that one. James underneath this one. Beaten out to it in the air. Edwards. Brown coming back from the corner spot. Good work from Edwards, and then, well, Dillon whacked that clear, and they wanted Pace to run to it, but it was 20 yards in front of him with a defender with a good amount of space, so I thought that was a bit ambitious.
Yeah, quite ambitious. They say aim high, but that was probably pushing it a little. As Sammy Watman will pick this one up. 10 minutes left in the first half. Can the Zebras work their way back to parity? At the moment, they're chasing this one. The Glenorchy Knights with the lead, thanks to Declan Brown, striking home from the penalty spot after the brutal foul from Harutza on Matthew Nowicki, which has taken him out of the game. And his involvement for the day, unfortunately, cut to a rather premature end. Watman with a low worm burner. That was ugly to Griffin, who just coughed it up straight to Yonezawa, let them right off the hook there, and might have just invited a little danger on the counter-attack as Riley Dillon works it forward. Dangerous looking ball. Hay unable to get there because sneaking in behind was Samuel James. Clears the area. David Smith, speaking the other day, said with Knights, it's a team that plays with two banks of five, the back five and then an attacking five. And it's probably not too far wrong based on what we've seen for the opening half hour here. There's not been a lot through the midfield. They've played pretty direct and they've had plenty of numbers forward when they have attacked. It's been dangerous as this one's worked to the back post, but it was overhit from Dillon, who's just been that 15% off with his delivery today. Just keeps missing the far corner. The one time he's been spot on was the one time the flag was raised on him. I just wonder if maybe the Sanders curse has just been transferred to a teammate for another week here, Paul.
Or just dispersed across the team. I mean, if you're going to have someone whose shooting boots aren't on, you'd rather at the left back than the central striker. Just getting back to Dave Smith's observation of the 5-0-5 formation, I mean, the only adjustment I'd make here is they're probably playing a 6-0-4. I mean, I think it's just James and Griffin holding back, and then having Heggie, formerly Nowicki, now Stewart, Naden and Brown. And that's really the only adjustment. It's pretty accurate. And so far, after 36 minutes, it's working a treat, to be honest.
Yeah, absolutely. I think they've pretty good value so far. The Glenorchy Knights took the lead and have looked pretty secure in that lead. The Zebras not exactly overwhelming in the chances they're creating. They've had a couple of reasonable looks, but nothing a gilt edge thus far, and just struggling to break them down. And the Knights have been very sharp when they have moved the ball forwards on those counter-attacks. Lovely turn from James. Brown wants to shimmy back inside, tried to take on Yonezawa, couldn't beat him. Hay with a deft little pass for Sanders, back to Yonezawa. Pace's touch, getting away from him, allowed Jade Clay in. Just works it out of play. It's a throw from Walsh. Goes looking for the Colonel, been well held so far. Off the head of James, Muller rising over the back one, the header. Griffin flicks it on. Walsh out the back to Harutza, manufactured away to get it forwards. James volleyed it straight to Dillon. Either side able to keep a hold of the ball just at the moment. Can the Zebras settle it down a little here? Jaden Hay, he's going to take on Tog Hill, his former teammate. Good run here from Hay. And Harrison gets across to put it behind for the corner. He's looked in the mood this afternoon, Jaden Hay. He's been running at the defence, but just hasn't quite been able to unlock them so far.
No, he's showed good intent down both sidelines. We've seen him move from the right centrally, now out to the left, and we've seen Riley Dillon. Samuel James been taken off corner duty. Now Riley Dillon's been taken off corner duty as well. It'll be Nicky Edwards to swing this one in. The tall timber around the keeper goes in the Harutza direction. Well cleared by Naden, so you'll get a second chance at this one. The short corner to Riley Dillon might not be the worst option here. Not that I'm one to advocate short corners terribly often. And it'll be Edwards to swing it into the mixer. Punch by Nesta. Only as far as Little. Pace. Completely fresh aries, that one. And Brown will try and set Stewart free against Dwayne Walsh. He's got Brown in all sorts of space if he wants them. Finds Declan Brown. Turns inside where there were four Zebras players rushing back. And Riley Dillon snuffs that one out. Just a little bit further in front of Declan Brown there, that pass. That could have been a completely different outcome.
It could have. Just like to see a little more cynicism from Dwayne Walsh there. Just take the man out and cop the yellow. Don't give him the chance to roll that through to Declan Brown all his own in the middle. That's one that worked out for him all right, but I think just cop the cheese. Do something cynical. Foul him. and stop that chance from ever coming into existence, because Declan Brown, if that pass had found him, he's not going to lose a foot race.
That not going too far and getting any ticks towards his D licence with that sort of play is Dwayne Walsh.
Far too fast. This one's smashed on to the roof of the grandstand, which causes fear for everyone sitting in it. There is the real worry that this thing's just going to collapse one day when the ball lands on the roof. It's that derelict and old, if you're listening, Tasmanian government, federal governments, etc.
Is there an election?
We do need some funding out this way.
I wonder what big events coming up that could potentially lead to some funding for this new grandstand that we could really use.
Well, I'm sure Bill is just tuning into Slice of Cheese, or ScoMo just on their campaign buses, just tuning into our call here this afternoon on the campaign trail. Please.
We're a lot more fair-minded than the constituents you're currently meeting out there in the suburbs.
So, Muller out wide to Riley Dillon. The Zebras with 5 minutes left before the break to try and break them down here. Toghill sticking to the task diligently, and is pulled up for a foul there on Dillon, which will give Stone Cold an opportunity. Thought about taking it quickly. Eventually he'll wait for the cavalry to arrive in the form of Little and Harutza. He's got 5 to pick out in the box. And the big checking machine, certainly the most likely. Edwards with the dummy run. Then Dillon right into the middle, headed over the top by Tyler Harrison, the night skipper, just tracking back, had that one well under control.
He needed to, as well as the Colonel was lurking just behind, ready to pop up. Really needed that touch, did Harrison. And so the Zebras have another corner. It's 3 in a couple of minutes here. They're trying to pile some pressure on the Knights' defence as it's Edwards to take. Goes near post, it's deflected, and Muller can't quite get their thump clear off the line in the end. The Zebras determined to get one before half-time. I thought Nicky Edwards was about to take a running throw into the pitch then. It was an interesting angle, but we'll give it to Jaden Hay. Certainly their longest thrower in their team in the Harutza direction, who stayed forward, and another corner for the Zebras. The Knights will be looking just to get it out of their own 18-yard box here soon.
Yeah, well, did mention 10 minutes or so ago that Knights have faded out a little late in first halves.
You're a prophet, Andrew.
And perhaps we're just seeing history repeating as the Zebras have wrestled back a little bit of momentum here. Can they make it count and get back level? Not with set-piece delivery like that, they won't. Just wasteful stuff from Riley Dillon, who's not had his best day when it's come to end product, the former Bentley Greens man. He's one of the more adventurous fullbacks in the competition, getting forwards, but hasn't been able to hurt them on the scoreboard here. Cal Griffin away from Yonazawa. Worked it to Naden. Dillon did nice defensively, though. Now he looks to take on James. High fend off there. Rolls it through, and in the end, a free kick going the way of Dillon, who I thought was the one who fouled himself. So have a look at the replay there.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind a look at that replay. Dillon just with a little bit of its own argue there on Samuel James. He seemed to pass the ball without too much impediment there, did Dillon. We'll see how
the placement of that one. I reckon it's for the initial kind of Naden foul before the fend off. I reckon. Looking at the replay, oh, that he's just put it back. Either way, bit stiff. I reckon James. He's caught one in the schnoz and he's conceded a free kick. So Dillon and Edwards again hovering over it. Dillon has been hitting everything over the top so far. Can he find his range, or will he defer to Edwards on this occasion? He does, and Edwards has got the same disease. Launches it way over the bar. No threat to the goal as we tick towards half-time.
Not sure what was in the Zebras drink bottles when they had that drink break at about the 14th minute mark, but it's something that just means you cannot keep a set piece down for love nor money. Every single one has gone side netting or over the top pretty much. And we'll see what they do about that in the second half. There's Nesta. Gets this one down the line. Heggie with the flick on. Beats Walsh, and can't beat Harutza, who's doing us a wonderful favour here by just really battering this tired old 1960s roof on the grandstand here at KG5. Just putting another few dents in it. Not that it hasn't got enough already in it. Clay will take the throw in. And this one's going to be launched down the line. Brown wanted it. And he'll eventually go over his head. Good flick header there from Stuart Brown. Missed out by Yonizawa. Cal Griffin. Well, good first time shot in the end there from Griffin. Waltman was a yard or two advanced, and there was space there to loop it over the keeper, but not a bit too much purchase on it. Did the Knights centre midfielder, probably the furthest forward we've seen him so far today as well. Does usually play a slightly more advanced role than we've seen him play so far this afternoon. As Sanders can't get underneath that one. Brown wanted to play it to Stewart and does. Naden's in a good pocket of space on the far side, but can't quite get it there. And then Yonizawa is fouled by Cal Griffin. Good smart foul there from the centre midfielder. Nothing too reckless, but just enough to break up the players. Harutza whacks that one down the sideline. Inside to Sanders. Wants the return ball. Does Hay. Gets onto it. In through. Oh, good save. In the end there. That is a lovely build-up from the Zebras. Getting in on the far side. Jaden Hay. It's actually the defender who's come across there, Jade Clay, to get a foot in. I thought that was off the leg of Nesta. Jade Clay has done very well.
Yeah, just reached around with the leg and made a crucial block to deny pace. The best chance of the game, really. Penalty aside as Dylan again goes back post, and this one almost lands. Sanders there. Another look at that one, but that wasn't too far away. I thought he'd overhit it initially, but the Knights deal with it particularly well.
Sanders has got to be doing better there on first watching that live.
Dylan just flapping at it completely was Nestor, and there is no one near Colonel Sanders. And a big chance goes begging.
There's not
that would have been a real coach killer in the 47th minute.
There's not too many other players in the state I would rather in that position than the Colonel Sanders, and that will be the last action of a pulsating first half here between the Hobart Zebras and the Glenorchy Knights. Knights 1-0 in front thanks to a penalty to Declan Brown, which also calls the only substitution in the game. Matthew Nowicki coming off. We'll get you an update on his status at halftime, as we'll run through the match highlights for you there. Knights will be pretty content here with how the first half has played. They've set up really well defensively. Good bank of 4 defenders and 2 holding midfielders, and just getting forward when necessary. And here is Nowicki getting the header and then getting absolutely poleaxed by Jan Harutza afterwards. Stratos Plomaritis, no hesitation in pointing to the spot, and no hesitation either from Declan Brown. Zebras have shown some good intent in getting to the final third, but the delivery of set pieces and balls into the box have been pretty limited in their quality here in the first half. And I think with that, we will let the match highlights run out for you. We'll see you soon in about 10 minutes for a gripping second half to come between these two storied rivals.
And we're back for the second half here at KG5. It's Glenorchy Knights holding sway by 1-0 after 45 minutes of action here. A Declan Brown penalty separating the two teams. Can the Zebras turn things around in the second, or will the Knights hold on and leak them into fourth on the table? It's been a game of few chances so far. What do you like of our chances of this thing breaking open just a little in the second, Paul?
I'm confident of this one breaking open. I think the Zebras have got to play a bit quicker and a bit more attacking intent right from the off here, especially being a goal down. They'll need a good sense of urgency, especially to break down what has been a pretty strong red wall that the Knights have put up here this afternoon. That back four of Clay, Hardwick, Harrison and Tolkill, with James and Griffin marshalling in front. They've looked pretty steady there. The last 10 minutes, Zebras did start to find some holes, which seemed to be what the Knights do. They play a strong 30-35, and then that last 10, it's been their weak point all season. We saw that against Olympia as well here in the early rounds. Just a 10-minute lapse of concentration, and the game was pretty much over in that time. The Knights will probably look to play on the counter, I would expect Brown to play a bit more advanced here and really look to run in behind Little and Harutza, as especially with Nowicki off, it's going to be hard to match their centre-backs physically. And the Zebras really, I think, just have to keep plugging away. Hay and Edwards were looking the most likely outlets for the Zebras. And to be fair, I certainly think there's going to be goals left in this match.
I tend to agree with that assessment. As Jake Stewart puts his foot over the ball, and we're ready for what should be an intriguing second 45 here. The Knights holding sway at the moment, looking to claim a big scalp here this afternoon and put a dent in the Zebras' early title aspirations. As we approach the end of the first full round of fixtures, we've just about got an adequate sample size to judge everyone off at this point, and an important battle in sorting them out this afternoon. A big 45 minutes coming up here at KG5. Watman to Little, who's about to be surrounded by Knights who press them here, but they retreat back to Watman and he'll just launch it over the top of all that. Tyler Harrison with a volley. It's just going to go straight out of play.
Just attacking the KGV grandstand from the underside there was Tyler Harrison, as Jaden Hay goes for a jaunt down the left-hand sideline, trying to get around the whole Knights defence on his own, and puts a good ball into the box, and he's completely missed the header. Has rolled in for an own goal. Well, that happened in absolute slow motion. Completely misjudged the header in the box there from the Zebras. It's rolled off the thigh. Oh, I think it was Jade Clay on the far side coming in from his defensive position. It is Clay, and he probably wasn't expecting it to come to him. Nesta couldn't come across. And within the first minute, the Zebras are back level.
Yeah, comical that one. And Jay Clay just getting the ball caught between his feet there. Sneaks in slow motion, as you say, into the far post there. I thought Edwards should have got his head to it. It was a brilliant cross from Jaden Hay. Thought it was an opportunity gone begging. And in the end, a slice of fortune. And they knot this one up one apiece. Jake Stewart crashes into Harutza. Jordan Muller chips it out wide for pace over his head. And Jade Clay is there. Hardwick chips it over the top. Brown off pace. They all appeal for it. And it will be the Knights who get it. So what a real turn in this game. 1-1 the score now. And there for both these teams to really push on and try and find another one. Take all 3 points today. The Knights in absolutely no hurry here at the moment to take the throw in. So they're looking to drive the tempo in the opening moments here. Long throw comes from Clay. And off for Griffin it goes for a goal kick.
Hard one there for Griffin to control. I'm just saying, Hay and Edwards were the most likely outlets. It was Jaden Hay's work down the left-hand touchline, despite having 3 Knights players to contend with. Got the ball into the box. But yeah, you would expect Nicky Edwards to get something on that. And then it really did roll into the corner. I thought just the pace it was, Nesta would be able to come across. But the Zebras back on track early, and it's back to square one as Jake Stewart now goes for a run down the left-hand side. Harutza for company. Stewart wants some options, doesn't have a lot as James is sitting back. It now goes to James, whose heavy touch allows Harutsa to clear it. Loose header is retrieved and put into the box. Naden nearly getting there. Dylan heading clear. Harutsa calmly back to the goalkeeper. And Jaden Hay is in a considerable amount of space there. If Watman wants to get it to him, and he's hit it behind him, but it will fall to the Zebras winger. It's Hay now cutting inside. Griffin with a good challenge. And they'll now look to reset the Zebras. Stone cold. Riley Dillon to Sanders. Tried to get past Harrison, no luck. Griffin wants a few more options and eventually goes down the sideline in the Heggie direction. This time the Zebras mop up a little quicker than we've seen so far. As Watman goes to Sanders. Clay fresh airing that one, and Pace read that one like a book, and Nesta gets there eventually. Heggie. The two number 9s still going at each other. And Walsh shepherds that one out for a throw.
So the Dwayne Pipe, those seriously loud wheels of his up towards Nicky Edwards, showed good anticipation. Over to go, trying to pounce all over that back pass. Riley Dillon in plenty of space near touchline, screaming for it. Those calls heated. And now Dillon will turn and try and get round Naden. Couldn't do so. He'll get the throw in, and some match manager just get it to him quickly. The Zebras trying to force the issue early in their half here. Really put the pressure on the Knights, turn the screws a little, but they let them off the hook there. Slightly sloppy, the Knights showing no inclination for a fast tempo ball game at the moment. Quite content as this one's nodded down by Muller into the path of pace. Away by Hardwick, right into the bullseye where Harutsa waits for it. Nodded over the top of Muller to Griffin. He gave it straight to Tommy Little. Now Jaden Hay combining with Muller. Sweating on him was Cal Griffin, letting him work it forwards there. Riley Dillon. Sanders wanted that one and got it. Muller chips it over the top looking for Hay. He's been an outlet they've frequently used this afternoon. Sanders' ball floats over the head of Edwards. Out by Hardwick. Heggie presents it up quite nicely. Now he turns and swings this over the top. It was an errant pass though. Didn't really give Stewart a chance at it. Jay Clay wider on the left, another option, but went the near touchline instead. Little. Dillon. Now back to the big Kiwi. Waiting on that one was Harutsa, and then Watman just says, let's get it out of here. Well, Hardwick coughed it straight up to Hay, and he might make them pay. Delightful little chip into the channel, but well done by Tyler Harrison. Whisked that one away just in the nick of time. Heggie giving chase, but won't get on the end of that one.
Composed defence there from Tyler Harrison, backheeling your way out of trouble with Edwards storming through. Good composure shown by the centre half. It's Walsh. Throws it into Edwards. Dwayne Pipe eyes it back to the keeper, who does get his head up quickly. Sprays it out in the Hay direction. Toghill over both of their heads. Harrison comes across to clean up. But the foul given by the referee. And now the Zebras doing what the Knights have been doing, and not in a huge rush to take it. Dillon to Hay. What can he do down this left-hand touchline again? He puts in a similar ball to before. Nesta, not quite there. Foul on the keeper, no. And corner given. So right under the nose of the keeper. Colonel Sanders there. What are your thoughts on that one, Andrew?
Oh, I've got to stand up for the keepers' union there. A bit of protection for my man, Dimmy Nesta, please, as Dillon swings this one in away by Naden. You can't be, I know it's an old cliche, keepers are overprotected, but that's just a bit of tunnelling, really. I mean, he's trying to put him off so he can get a goal to bounce over the line. Got a bit unlucky there, Dimmy Nesta. It's just not normally the way those ones go. They're on the other side. There's a potential for foul on the goalkeeper. Yonezawa. Sanders. Shut off by Harrison. Had a good game in the heart of the Knights' defence today. As the skipper, Tyler Harrison, intelligent reader of the play. Dylan told that needs to be a bit more central.
We really need a third commentator to be from the Strikers Union here. So we've got the Keepers Union, the Defenders Union. We're giving not a lot of love to strikers.
Oh, I'm a more than competent number 9 as well. I'll dip my hat in the ring there too. Do my best work in the 6-yard box. Don't really move much beyond that, but...
Real target man type operator.
No, I model myself more on Van Nistelrooy.
Yep. Just
Not a lot of movement.
Not a lot. 6-yard poacher.
Certainly not quite the ability of Van Nistelrooy, it's fair to say. Anyway, it's the Zebras on the offensive here. They've started the second half well. Long throw for Sanders. Didn't quite have the distance on it. Away by Toghill. Jaden Hay with another chance to send one in. He goes to the back post. Promising ball. Headed down Nesta with a strong pair of hands. Pouncing on that one ahead of Sanders.
Yeah, just managing to get the ball in from the mysterious touchline there. Header at the back post. Comfortably claimed from Nesta. Trying to get Sanders in a bit of trouble there for leaving his leg there, but he didn't do a whole lot wrong that time, Sanders, as opposed to the time before. Back to Watman. Toghill letting that one bounce. Hay will rise with him. Toghill gets there first and second, but Riley Dillon gets there before Naden thumps that one out for a throw-in. Dillon and Hay exchanging passes. On his hour, Geordie Muller is in a good pocket of space centrally. Heggie applying pressure. Harutza sprays a pass straight to the match manager on the far sideline there. He's in a bright fluorescent bib, so you can't confuse him with a teammate. That one's heaved down the line. Walsh, not really sure what he was trying to do there. High foot called and given by the referee. Now that's Harutza's 4th foul at least. A lot of hand movements there from Stratos Palmeritis, but I see no cheese.
As high as the one in the penalty area earlier, mind you.
Just had word from our wonderful associate next to us. There was a cheese on Harutza for the penalty on the wiki before. Which,
so we're paying attention as per usual there?
Yeah, absolutely. Really got the eyes on the game up here in the commentary box. Not what we're paid for at all.
To be fair, I think the main concern at that point was the well-being of Matthew Nowicki. An ambulance was called for him. It was the latest update we've heard. Was somewhat dazed and confused, so you imagine he might be out for a little bit of time. Matt Nowicki, wish him all the best. One of our favourites up here at Slice of Cheese. So it's the talisman of the Knights this season, Declan Brown, standing over the dead ball. He's been the main architect in attack this year, and he swings that one in. And Watman got down low, and behind it rolls for a corner. I don't think anyone was really expecting this type of an effort from Declan Brown, just punching it low in, and Watman turning it aside. A couple of Knights players there following up a rehearsed move, I would suggest that one, just looking for a little goal on the doorstep perhaps, for any of those rebounds that might have been coughed up. Watman dealt with it nicely though, put it behind for the corner. Aaron Heggie prepares to swing this one in. Bends it in, dangerous looking ball. Watman came and claimed it and just picked it up off the attacker in front of him, then launches it long. It's a booming kick this for Nicky Edwards. Has played him in behind. He's got no one in the middle just yet. Pace makes a run now. Edwards buying time, dancing on the ball, a little nutmeg, but numbers back for the Knights. And Samuel James across to clear the danger. Naden didn't do so well there, gave it straight to Pace. And it'll be a throw in the way of the Zebras.
Full credit to Sam Watman there. He stood very strong in amongst a sea of bodies, claimed it well, and then the distribution was quick as we go back to live play. The ball into the box, cleared. Now Brown. Didn't quite get the purchase he really wanted on that clearance, and Tommy Little will let it out for a throw, and we'll see the first substitution being made here this afternoon, and I'm assuming this is an injury as Jan Harutza is coming off, or potentially that cheese plus the 4 fouls I was talking about before.
I reckon that's it. I think it's injury. I think he's seen that high boot of Harutsa just a few too many times and doesn't want to play the rest of this one with 10 men. Get Henry Fagg out there. Not a bad call.
Was one of the players mentioned as having a knock in the pre-game, but yeah, now that it's been confirmed he is on a slice of cheese, that probably explains that talking to for the high boot and why he's come off so early. And as James knocks that one down to Stewart, and Henry Fagg getting his first touch on there. Very handy replacement to have in centre back, mind you. Plenty of NPL experience. As that one's down the sideline. It's DJ Heggie. He's got Stewart and Naden in front of him. Naden towards the back post. Stewart going short. Heggie falls to Brown, who tried to hit it first time. Dylan gets there first. Muller. Clever ball to Edwards, who's got Hay in front of him again if he wants to go there. He's going to go himself here, Nicky Edwards, charging down the middle. Sanders made the diagonal run, but Tyler Harrison, who's been rock solid in the back all game, snuffs that one out. Tog Hill heading that one in the Naden direction. Dylan using his body well, and unfortunately not well enough as he knocks that one out for a throw-in.
So we've reached the hour mark here at KG5. The Hobart Zebras have not been shy of a draw this year. It's kind of been a real unicorn of a result in our league over the past few years, the draw. Not something we've seen a lot of, but the Zebras have already been involved in 3, I think, and this would be a 4th today. Let's break that way. Yonazawa nodding onto the head of Griffin. Stewart competing then against the Japanese midfielder. Well over the head of Hardwick goes that one. Just rolled out by Dimmy Nesta. Hardwick with a searching ball there for Brown. Sharp work by him to keep it in play. Hardwick rolls the foot over the ball and then coughed it up to Tommy Little over there. Muller. He's chipped forward. Picked off by Clay, who just somehow weaved between 2 Zebras. The savvy veteran here, just moving very nicely. Silky stuff as he glided through the Zebras and worked it to Tog Hill. Well, nutmeg on his former teammate Hay. Yonazawa back to Jaden Hay. Been an impressive game from Hay this afternoon. He combines with pace. Couldn't find a quick release, so instead turned and went back to Little, who, well, he got fouled. Might have made more of an effort to take the advantage there. There was something building for the Zebras through the middle. Opts for the free kick instead, and Knights will be able to shift everyone back. It's obviously impeded, but just felt there's been no real tempo in this second half. But the Zebras, when the speed has picked up, have looked pretty good, and then Little just coughs it straight up. Very ordinary pass, that one. Now he knocks it back to Watman. Should receive it again here, Tommy Little. See if he can do better on this occasion. Goes essentially to Fagg and really puts him under the cush too. He did very nicely indeed to work it away from Naden. And they've played their way through the press. Riley Dillon checks inside onto the right foot. And then a clever little ball in behind for Sanders. The flag raised on him as he drove it past the post anyway. That's the flag straight up and correctly adjudicated off the back of that, I think, although my esteemed colleague doesn't seem to think so over there.
We've got some discerning voices about that call. With potentially Jade Clay there being a step behind Hardwick, which was the guide we were using here. So, little Sanders does like to play off the shoulder of the last defender, but as you're talking about with tempo, Zebras, both with that Tommy Little, I guess not accepting the advantage, and then Dylan before they had real numbers over on the far side, and if they just play in Muller and then get around the back, they can really stretch this Knights defence, but haven't really tried that as Sanders now plays a delightful through ball to Edwards. Edwards against Hardwick. Good back heel, pace, Sanders! Oh, Nesta with the save. Coming up strong once again, Dimmy Nesta. He put in a man of the match performance the other week, and he had to be very on his toes for that one. And now the referee has given a free kick to the Zebras in another dangerous position. Sanders, we haven't called his name a lot in the first 60 minutes. He's had 2 Well, these chances, to be fair, on his left peg, I'd expect him to put that in the bottom corner. Sanders just rolled over the top of the laces a little bit too much. And Zebras, though, with another chance. Nicky Edwards over this one. Dylan as well is the other player there. Pace hobbling back to the centre of the park. Dylan with the in-swinger. That's a better ball to the near post, and that has whacked the hand of Henry Fagg on the full. Was by his side the hand of the Zebras centre-back. Certainly hit it on the full. Who knows with the handball rule these days?
So Nesta to Hardwick. Worked it to Heggie in the end. And Heggie unceremoniously dumped a little there by lunging Muller. This one launched long, little over the top of Stewart. Good direction on the header. James volleys it forward for Stewart. Just works goal side here of Tommy Llewellyn, swings it across for Naden! Oh, that's a great ball in, and Nick Naden heads it home to give Knights back the lead. Jake Stewart forges the chance, and Naden finishes it off. Glenorchy Knights reclaiming the lead here at KG5.
Look at him roll the centre-back. Jake Stewart put that on a platter for Nick Naden and said, fire me into the back of the net, which he does to aplomb. The Knights haven't had a whole lot of attacking chances here. Giving the old, yes, it has come off my head, Naden, celebration. And the Knights, after two, gilt-edged chance for the Zebras at the other end, have restored their lead. Fortuitous goal in some respects for the Zebras before. The Knights, on the balance of play, have stood up well defensively and then taken their chances as this one's gone to the near post. Toghill manages to clear. Brown can't get that one under control. Ozawa to Dylan, going in the Sanders direction. Hardwick clears. As we predicted in halftime, there's a few more goals in this game, and I'd still say there is now, as that's a good chip through ball. Running in is Nesta, getting there just in the nick of time. There's Pace charging through the middle.
Sunday McEwen's been given the yell out too on the sidelines. Geordie Muller trying to get in behind here. That shot charged down by Samuel James, behind for another corner. McEwen will be on momentarily, I'd have thought, as the Zebras go in search of late goals for the second time now. They're going to have to chase this one. The Knights yelled Clarence at one, so former Reds there, Stewart and Naden, combining in attack. So can the Zebras hit back here? Corner goes in the middle of the box. Harrison didn't quite clear the area. Hay deflects into the back of the net, and they've answered immediately. Sanders wheeling away in celebration, and the Hobart Zebras respond almost instantaneously. We got ourselves a ball game here, Paul.
We certainly do. Corner swung in, not cleared effectively. Hay has rifled that directly into the foot of Colonel Sanders. He has not known a whole lot about that, and that could have gone anywhere. Unfortunately for the Colonel, who, especially down that end of the ground, has not had his fair share of luck in the past few weeks. And he's been saving that one up in the bank, and he's redeemed it now to make it 2-2. And I thought the Zebs were going to make a substitution there, but they'll hold off for another minute. And the Knights, well, will they have an instant reply in them? Naden looking over the far side. Walsh wants a shout in the sun. Brown comes over the top, not tunnelled underneath by Muller. And a flick on Stewart. Little rises high. Walsh. Dwayne Pipe only as far as James. And now Heggie fires that in to the fullback. And Clay there. Very acrobatic attempt at getting that ball back. Just resting the body weight on the far fence. Not surprised Stewart and the like have dropped a bit further deep. He's got a cannon of a throw does Clay. Goes near post. Cleared by Fag. Good touch from Clay, trying to get around the defender, and the foul's been called. So the Knights, again, pressurising the Zebras' defence. Be Declan Brown to take for 6 players in the box for the Knights. Will he find a head? It's Brown. Goes low towards the near post, and it really has been a theme of this game, has been disappointing set pieces.
It's been some real letdown moments in this one. The standard of set piece taking has been well below what we usually expect in the NPL TAS, and it looks like Matthew Pace is going to be replaced by Jimmy Ackley here. Found the back of the net against Riverside last week. And he'll come on with some fresh legs in attack. Can he inspire a winner here as they've, again, hit back quickly. Scored early in the second half to pull it back to 1-1, and then within a minute of going down 2-1 have managed to wrestle it back to 2-0. Nicky Edwards not really a natural target for long balls, but one just kind of pitched in between everyone. Rolls off of Edwards, Harrison, Naden, played it off of Yonezawa. Craftily done by the goal scorer, Nick Naden. Toghill, that impressive beard. Haven't heard the tones of Shawnee Toghill throughout this 90 here, so maybe he's just waiting on the result to decide who he will lend his support to this year. This is, of course, the Sean Toghill Cup. Maybe even more important than the 3 points up for grabs. The support of Togsy, I think, would be worth probably 9 or 10 points this season.
I've been scanning that far touchline, and as you say, I have not seen the face and certainly not heard the voice, as that's a lovely little nutmeg. Edwards out to Riley Dillon. Dillon towards the back post. Nesta rising high. Sanders getting there once again. Someone's thumped over the head of Stewart, and it'll be really interesting. What happens if it's a draw, though, in the Sean Toghill Cup? I mean,
second leg, perhaps.
Yeah.
Next time around.
Just go best of 3, make it last the whole season.
Well, he needs to be making up his mind sooner than that. Needs to be picking.
If only we still had a final series after it.
No, Paul. It's a preposterous suggestion. This one is going to be a free kick to Edwards in the end. The Knights faithful just arcing up a little. Hay wants to take it quickly, has that blocked off by Callan Griffin, and he'll earn himself a dose of dairy for that one. We're blocking the free kick from about half a yard away.
I mean, he can't disappear into thin air, Cal Griffin.
Oh, he stuck it out of the leg, though. What are you talking about? It's clear yellow. Turn it up, Hunt.
I'm just winding a few people up here.
So Riley Dillon over the dead ball. Callan Griffin into the referee's notebook there with a yellow card. Dillon swings it in. Sanders the target. Nesta came. Didn't clear the area. How will it sit for Jaden Hayes? Works his way into space and then deflected effort just falls into the grateful hands of Nesta. The Zebras pressing hard as they search for the go-ahead goal.
Jaden Hay had very good luck firing a rifled shot in the box a few minutes ago, getting a good deflection. Not quite the same on that occasion. As the Dwayne pipe goes to Muller. Really hogging that touchline is the Dwayne pipe. Muller looks up and tries to find Sanders. Sanders using his body well. Harrison. Walsh who's stride forward. Walsh just eludes his teammate at the back post, Jaden Hay. He was ready to pounce, was Hay, and that one, I believe, has gone out for a throw rather than a goal kick. Yeah, deep.
Gee, they're lining up in the middle there, the Zebras. They're knocking on the door, finishing this game the stronger of the two as we head towards the final 20. Muller, volleyed forward for Edwards. Just squirms in behind Toghill. He controls it, waits for a little bit of support. That comes in the form of Riley Dillon, skipping into the boxes. Dillon weaving one way, then the other. Tries to get the shot away, he does, but never looked like troubling Dimmy Nesta. Didn't quite work it back enough. Quite the bend, and credit to was Declan Brown just doing the defensive work on Griffin there, stopping him getting that shot off when he first wanted to.
In the end, Dylan's best option may have been young James Ackley on the far sideline. That ground grubber of a goal kick does fall to James, who gets a bit more loft underneath at Naden against Dylan. Hay. The Knights surrounding Hay. Toghill to Griffin. He can turn out if he wants to. Plays a nice ball to Brown. Stewart making the run. It's Brown trying to get past one. Now that is a slice of cheese if I've ever seen one. Declan Brown storming in on goal. Henry Fagg copying the professional foul there.
And that is why you sub Harutzer off, because he couldn't have done that. He couldn't have pulled that. You've got the fresh man on who hasn't been booked. You can just snickily go, nah, that's enough of you running at my goalkeeper. Thank you, Declan Brown. I'll see how you go with a wall and 10 men in between you and there. Wonderful stuff. It's just about the only way you can stop Declan Brown at times, when he gets up a full head of steam. Yeah, you don't want him running in there with Jake Stewart in the middle awaiting the cutback. That was the right option.
Smart option there. Experienced defender is Henry Fagg.
So, Samuel James over the dead ball here. Sanders is alert to the quick little pass to Declan Brown, which we've seen a few times. Those quick free kicks just slid in. It'll be a dink instead. Headed back. Full for Walsh. Got their head of clay and just blasted it out of there. Toghill will just nod it back comfortably to Dimmy Nesta. Fair purchase on that clearance from the Dwayne pipe. Here's Hardwick to James. Back to Hardwick again. And Jade Clay. The Knights content to knock it around the back for the time being as we reach the final 15 minutes of regulation. Hardwick, no one really presenting for him, so he just turns and goes straight back to his goalie once again. They're going nowhere fast at the moment, Knights. Eventually they knock it long for Heggie. Flicked on. Yonezawa landed at the feet of Griffin. Now Nick Naden, Brown making a bursting run. He heads in that direction. Fagg always favoured by the central pass though. Jaden Hay. Griffin just got in there ahead of him, but it spills into the path of Riley Dillon. Stone cold. Having a run at Toghill. Tries to take him on. Toghill showing a good turn of pace to stick with him. And just fell into his back in the end there, Toghill. And a free kick being blown against the bearded one.
Tried to go around the outside, did Riley Dillon. Muscling up. Does get in front. Toghill falls on him.
He's always looking to go down there, Dillon.
Yeah, he was running down a blind alley there, Riley Dillon. Just to win the foul off Toghill. And we'll see what the Zebs can do from this free kick. Just the 4 at the back post at the moment. Launched in the near post, flick on header at the back, cleared off the line. Rising high is Hay. And this time Harrison gets a lot more purchase on it. Ackley elects to keep it in, has Muller for company, goes in that direction. Geordie Muller, low ball, cleared by Hardwick. Now Naden, can he get past Yonezawa? Knocks it in front of him, is impeded. Advantage played, it's Stewart. Jake Stewart, only Declan Brown ahead of him, manages to get past Yonezawa, through ball to Brown, and that is offside. Brenton Copra calling that one. And it did seem that the defence had just held their line in time. Declan Brown wasn't about to hold his run. And we're just seeing this game a lot more stretched in the last 10 minutes, Andrew.
Hey, fancy, there's a match winner out there, if someone can find it. There's the room to manoeuvre in. Both teams want it. Who's got the legs to produce it? Some tired boys out there at the moment. Sammy Watman. Mishit straight to Griffin. Now Heggie with room out on the left here, and he'll run and dink one, trying to find Naden, steered away by Henry Fagg. Muller. Ooh, heavy touch in the end, and just rather gifts the Knights a corner. And perhaps has injured himself in the process, clutching at the hamstring Geordie Muller, which I guess would explain why he took an uncharacteristically poor touch out there then, but hasn't signalled to the bench, so he seems right to continue. Bit of
flag maintenance, corner flag maintenance.
He thought, I'm just going to give up on that one in the end. Declan Brown abandoning the task. I just want to whip this ball in instead, he says, and swings it near post. And Yonezawa worked it behind for another one. Brown, who doesn't really deserve another attempt at it after that first effort. We'll see if he can produce something a little better as Fags clear since swung in, blasted away by Jaden Hay. Ackley dinks it over the top. One more and they're on here. He's got Walsh in space. Edwards burning them off. It's Nicky Edwards storming in on goal and lofts it over the top. A glorious opportunity goes begging for the Zebras. Nicky Edwards storming in on goal. Surely had to hit the target there. That's like many a player this afternoon, just lifted it over the top.
They must be having a lean-back competition here. It's two players are going at it head-to-head on the field. Nicky Edwards and Jade Clay just comparing forehead sizes there temporarily. As Edwards just getting underneath that. Dwayne Walsh was bursting forward as well as... We'll now go down... Well, we'll have a look at the talking to that Edwards is getting. Stratos giving the attacker quite the talking to. And while that's happened, we have had two substitutions made. Muller has come off, just feeling that hamstring. And just trying to scan the room who's come on, actually. Woods, Hay, Yonezawa, Sunday McEwen has come on. And then for the Knights, Aaron Marnie has taken position on the left wing. And here's DJ Heggie, who's come off. So a change made by each side. After Edwards' glorious chance in on goal. And Dwayne Walsh, who was storming in, could have had a tap in as well. And 10 minutes to go, both sides looking for the victory. Dylan dinks it to Sunday. On his favourite day of the week, but that's not his favourite pass he'll hit all day. Launched in the sky, Nesta underneath that one the whole way. Jade Clay wanting this one and getting it. Fresh legs on the far sideline if he wants it. Clay turns and goes the other way, but just finds Henry Fagg, who misses his teammate, and it'll fall out for a throw-in. Toghill sizing up his options, doesn't have a lot. In the end, goes down the line. Naden can't get the head onto it. Yonezawa to Edwards. Sunday, Toghill left a little bit in on the attacker after that one. Quite a nice, graceful gone to the ground there, but he has left most of his body in there, has Togsy.
Yeah, obvious foul. Certainly Sunday making sure it was spotted, but Riley Dillon again. 2-2. This game is there for the taking for both these sides. Nicky Edwards really should have put the Zebras 3-2 ahead moments ago. Another chance here. Sanders stoops down, headed it backwards. Griffin, Naden, Yonezawa. Knocks it back to Henry Fagg. He'll drive it in the Sunday McEwen direction. Brings it under his spell, then rolls it off for Riley Dillon to dissect the gap, charge into the box. Can he pick someone out with a cross? No, Tyler Harrison again was there to repel. Yonezawa just outpointing Naden there. McEwen. Dillon wants it. That's where he heads. Just held his run well there, Riley Dillon. And he swings it in near post. Ackley not really a natural target in the air. Repelled away, the Knights holding on. Under some increasing pressure here from the Zebras. Turning the screws, Yonezawa. Lofting in the Sanders direction, Nesta. Always favoured. And surely a foul on the keeper. Sanders just backed into him. And he's afforded the keeper's protection this time, Paul, and rightfully so.
Yeah, this time an even potentially clearer example of tunnelling there from Colonel Sanders. As Stewart now gets around Tommy Little. Jake Stewart storming into the box. Bit of hand fighting. Still got the ball, Stewart. Naden's open. If he wants it, goes next. Naden puts it over the top. Well, it's a lean back contest here at KG5. Naden, the latest one to put his hand up. And he really just leant back on that one, the striker.
He's been fantastic today, Nick Naden, but that was extremely lazy. Just kind of stuck the right foot out on it half-heartedly. Put your laces through it or take a touch onto your left. He had time and space to make something better than that, and in the end, a rather tepid effort as he put it wide. Both these teams have had chances to win it, and neither look particularly interested in taking one at the moment. It remains 2-2.
Watman taking lessons from his strikers there with that goal kick as well.
Yeah, it's all getting a little scrappy, and it's the Knights who are searching late from the ground. It was Fag. They wanted handball, none forthcoming. McEwen clipped, advantage paid. Sanders couldn't take it. It was charged down. Mustn't have been advantage paid anyway. Aaron Marnie now. The fresh legs of the substitute. Can he get in behind? Instead passes to Clay. Experienced Jay Clay has coughed it up to Jimmy Ackley. Got there and got round of James. Into the path of McEwen. Dropped it off for Nicky Edwards. Nicky Edwards skips around Toghill. Lost his balance, went back and got it. Now tries to combine with McEwen, who's surrounded by Knights shirts. Back for Jaden Hay. Just holds up. Now swings it out, looking for Ackley. And Toghill came across and nodded away. And we're going to have some more action on the substitutes bench. Luke Warrener about to enter the fray.
It is Thomas Toghill coming off. He'll be eagerly awaiting the news, well, the outcome of the Sean Toghill Cup afterwards, and he'll have a few minutes on the bench to debate that to himself as Dylan directing traffic. Finds Edwards, Naden. Dumps that one clear, setting Jakey Stewart a task. Fag getting there first. Stewart pushing him out of the way and does eventually give the free kick, does the referee. It seems to be a grinning competition between Henry Fag and Strados there. Definitely a foul. It'll be Clay with his fan club in the stands to take this one. Hardwick, immediate pressure there from Ackley. Did well to beat the press initially. Now Warren up. Well, his first touch of the match. Trying to find Marnie down the far sideline. That had a lot of sauce on it, that pass from Lukey Warren up. Giving Marnie absolutely no chance.
So, Sammy Watman, can he get them moving forwards here with 4 minutes left in regulation? Where are we headed for another Hobart Zebras draw? Of course, they are still undefeated, but have left a number of points out there through the draws at the moment. Here is Dylan. Couldn't get around Jay Clay. Took the throw quickly and just launched it for McEwen. Good ball to him too. Finds Nicky Edwards, trying to shape to shoot. Couldn't quite buy the space. Ackley charged down by Warrener. Off the head of Naden. Riley Dillon trying to take it away, but Nick Naden wins the ball back. Ackley scrapping there with him. Good strength shown by Naden. And they chip it forward for Jake Stewart up against Tommy Little. Brown against Tay, off the head of Yonazawa. Fell for James. No one out there. But Henry Fag played it first time to McEwen. Angled his body and made a leaping flick on. About the best he could do with the situation. And they've got a throw in for Dylan. Zebras pushing hard for what would surely be a match winner at this point. It's Jaden Hay. Spots Dwayne Walsh with the sun in his eyes. He brings it down, swings in an early cross. Straight to Nesta. Just couldn't find anyone. And can Knights springboard back the other way now?
Real credit to Jakey Stewart as he has another up and under to contend with. Really reprising his role at Clarence as this one falls to Marnie. Can't get past the first defender. Jakey Stewart really chasing down absolutely everything since coming on. It'll be Marnie to take. Finds Warrener. Now Brown. Dwayne Pipe gets a knee in. And now we'll see Warrener launch it into the box. Underneath his fag. Just about cut out. It'll fall to Brown, who puts it in front of the Zebras player, and Jaden Hay fouls him. And I tell you what, Cooling, this is Declan Brown territory.
Yeah, it is, although I can't say the set-piece standard of the match is particularly filled.
I'm going to keep talking them up. That's persistence.
A whole lot of hope or confidence, but we'll see if he can find a way to produce what could be a spectacular match winner here in the 89th minute. It would be a goal with a little time left to respond, and Declan Brown looks like he wants to be the man to take responsibility here and step up. 2-2 the score, 90 seconds remaining. Up steps Brown, hammers it low, and Watman collects comfortably enough. And they've tried that low delivery a few times, and Watman has been up for it. Cal Griffin's header, not a great one. He'll give the Zebras a throw in an advanced spot here. Edwards wants to keep the attack going here, wants to dial up the pressure. As Dylan swings in a ball. Sanders was there, scrapping away with James. Top of the box, it falls for Jaden Hay! And on the left foot, he blazed over the top. Just wouldn't quite sit for him. And Hay can't quite find the spectacular. It remains locked at 2.
Over the bar, as we've seen a lot here this afternoon at KG5. Jaden Hay probably would have preferred that on his right foot. But another chance, half chance, goes begging for the Zebras. Nesta, though, is going to give him a free pass by knocking that one straight out of play. As we tick into the 90th minute, the Zebras, can they rouse themselves for one last hurrah? Walsh, not in a huge rush to take this throw-in, if they are to have a last hurrah. Finds Sunday, back to Walsh. Puts the ball into the box. Sanders tried to use his body well. Getting there's Hay deflected. Nesta can't get a hold of it eventually. Well, after about 7 goes at it, just about keeps enough of his hands on the ball. I think a foul has been called. But he had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 goes at it. Did Nesta. And eventually gets a reprieve from the referee. Nesta. Low driving ball straight to Yonezawa. He hits it straight to Clay. Griffin to Naden. Goes the big up and under, sending Marnie a task. The fresh legs getting right round Dwayne Walsh. It's Marnie. Stewart in the box. Walsh eventually comes back. Winning a corner for his side. The Knights have withstood a good amount of pressure here of late. What can they do again from this crucial set piece?
It's going to be Brown again to take. Standard of delivery, it won't matter if you can produce something here. Can he strike gold in stoppage time? It's Brown. That's better, but away by McEwen. Sanders flicks on for Ackley. Ackley can turn, and the break is on here for the Zebras. He just sets it out in front of Dillon and says, go get that, and Riley Dillon duly does. First time ball's going to make Edwards work for it. He just gave Warren every chance there, and he's able to clear away. The ball won't go out of play. It stays in for Ackley. Ackley dwells on it a moment. Last attacking moments perhaps here. Oh, a free kick. Let's Zebras out of jail there after a rather sloppy pass had gone out. Nicky Edwards, this could be a last chance saloon type stuff now for the Zebras. 2-2 the score. Into stoppage time. Sherman screaming out the instructions from the near touchline. It's Edwards to take. Can't be many more looks left. It's a dangerous ball. Oh, Fag couldn't get any of it, and the defender came across and put it behind.
That's a nervy
spin on that one.
It's a nervy one for all defenders, and getting a touch on it is Warrener. Could have even looped his own keeper there in the end.
So the corner again to the back post, eludes everybody. And the Zebras claiming another corner, and they're going to get another corner too. So the aerial bombardment here at the end is set to continue. Riley Dillon come across and take is, I think, just slipping on the concrete there was Tommy Little. So Dillon in the 93rd minute. They're pumping the balls in here. Dillon goes near post, away again by Hardwick on this occasion. They've stood up to the bombardment. Although a little bit more is going to come their way through the long throw-in ability of Jaden Hay. He sends it in once more. Again, it's Hardwick who repels. Marnie clears the danger, then works it to Stewart. Have they got enough time to spring a counter of their own, the Knights? Perhaps they might have enough time for one last attacking move, but the final whistle surely imminent now here, Paul.
Surely is, as Stewart beaten out by Little. Wants a free kick, ball still in play. Ackley tried the flick, Griffin just hits that one out of play. I think everyone in the grandstand thought that would be game over, but we're still going here. And Sanders, well, he wins the foul, and will they take it quickly or just let everyone get up? I think it's going to be the second option, so it really is the last chance here as we're nearly into the 95th minute. Edwards trying to steal a few yards. Griffin's done the leg trick once before. He knows he can't do it twice. And Edwards got 5 in the box to aim for. Does Edwards. Goes towards the back post. Little's nearly up. Someone on the ground. Back to the back post and put over the top. Colonel Sanders from 4 yards out has really just stuck with the theme of this game, and the ball goes over the top.
Oh, they'd handled most of these set pieces really well, the Knights. That one not so much, and it is the last touch of the game from Sanders. He neglects the opportunity to claim all 3 points, heads over the crossbar, and so it ends 2-2 here at KG5. A tremendously fought-out game. Both teams had the opportunities to win it. Zebras perhaps a few more. Neither could take it, and it ends all square once again, and they'll remain in 4th and 5th place on the table.
Probably a deserved result on the balance of play. Knights doing the best with the fewer chances they had by comparison to the Zebras, but the Zebras, despite a few fits and starts of pressure, never really laid out a full bombardment on the Knights' defence, and they set up really well from the start, did the Glenorchy Knights. Coach Sherman had them really well organised. As we'll go through some of the highlights here this afternoon. And we have a look at the first one, the penalty. Nowicki, who got his head to it, and then poleaxed by Harutza. We do hope Nowicki is keeping well as Declan Brown slotted the penalty. That put Knights 1-0 up, and they held that right the way through to half-time. That was about the 14th or 12th minute that happened. And as we go into the second half, well, one of the slowest own goals you'll ever see. It trickled over the line. Jade Clay not expecting that one. Neither was Nesta, and that made it 1-1. And we predicted at halftime there'd be plenty of goals in the second half, and we were pretty much right there, Andrew.
We were. Jaden Hay getting that cross in. That one wasn't one of the goals. It was Timmy Nesta not being given a free kick. But Knights would get back through Nick Naden. A glorious little chip ball from Jake Stewart to pick him out. Just held off the attentions of Tommy Little, burned him off, and then chipped in a perfect ball. Naden from close range. He's dangerous in the air, that man. And then, well, an element of fortune about the Zebras equaliser. Sanders didn't know a whole lot about it. Hey, just blasting one that deflected in off him. That would be the end of the scoring. Certainly not the end of the chances. Both teams had opportunities to win it, but neither could take one. And it's ended here 2-2 at KG5 to end round 9 of the NPL Tasmania. And we'll be off the NPL Tasmania next week. We've got a cup weekend. Certainly initially anyway. I think the next game we'll have for you will be Friday night, Glenorchy Knights and Olympia over at Warrior Park. So another classic Tasmanian football rivalry, that one. And with the cup factor added in, that should be a real treat. A massive Easter weekend of football headed your way. Easter Monday games as well. Devonport and the Zebras here on the Sunday. South Hobart, Hobart United. It is a footballing feast we have for you over the Easter weekend. Do join us for those ones. But from the Slice of Cheese and Buy on Stream team here at KG5 today, it's bye for now.